Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It has been raining in California for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. It's non-stop, not non-stop, but man, cloudy every day. And it's glorious, even needing the water. The other night I woke up at 2:40, I walked outside, and it was like hurricane force winds. I was afraid it was like 70-mile-an-hour winds out there. The trees were all this way. And it was really something to see. I like things like that because I like sensing the wildness of Mother Nature. That was truly that night. I almost I got out on the stairs, and it was just a wonder to behold that kind of power that Mother Earth produces, and it's nice. Okay, now let's have a final word as we looked around. Then, as we're looking around and seeing how what I'm saying applies to the outside world, how much it applies. The final word on that is this. We're going to just revisit that for a second here. So the people that are grabbing life by the horns, and are pushing through their dreams and are accessing their gifts and talents, and there are those. I'm always amazed that even in America, all the kids, all the 30s, the late 20, 30 people creating these online businesses and things, and the things they're doing is, it's amazing to me, so as these people grab life by the horns, how is that? How do we apply what I've said? Where the mind condition is a hell-like condition that is neither acceptable nor tolerable. It's a prison, okay, and that we're all suffering in, and we have to pull ourselves out of that prison, okay, fall to the heart and learn to live life from that heart. If they're in their doing this, okay, in their wonderful doing this, if that's all they do, doing one thing after the other, and they don't get to the larger question of the fact that we're all children of God with unlimited consciousness potential, okay, that we're all living in a very small consciousness level of what's possible for us. If they're doing this, prevents them from grasping that larger truth, or doesn't have them interested in these types of things we're talking about here, then that's going to be kind of a win-loss situation. There's everything to be said for getting out there and to making your dreams come true. Okay, there really is. The example of Escape to the Chateau I've given, like I say, check that show out. Those two are living a life that is a beacon, really, for the rest of us, the way they're creatively living their lives, and on their own terms, and not dependent upon anybody, just by their own smarts. And Angel and Dick are these people's names that are on that show, and they're a beacon of how we should more or less be living our lives, in that sort of sense. But at the end of the life, I don't know that they're interested at all in any of the things we're talking about, or we're all gathering together here, and as we move into a new dimensional consciousness, I don't know that they even know that, or I don't know if they'll ever ask that question, because they're so happy with the way they're doing things, and there's much to be said for that. But all I'm saying is this: if in their doing this, if they never really get to the larger question, the fact that we are children of God with unlimited potential here, and we've got to start tapping that consciousness potential, then it's going to be a slightly win-loss situation, okay? And at some point, maybe they will start asking those questions, but they have a lot to keep them interested and enjoying a creative life. That there's everything to be said for that. The example of Hunter Thompson I gave last video was, that he, was a good, interesting character, good writer, and interesting character in a lot of ways, but without his craft, his writing craft, and it was a craft for him. He's written some very interesting, very well put books. Without that, he was kind of lost. You know, he was a mean bastard one day, really a sweet guy the next day. And, you know, he was more or less lost in his personal life in all the delusional things that people tend to go through as they stick to their mind-oriented reality, okay? And this is my point, okay? And, you know, it really is tremendous what they can accomplish. You know, as I watch these people do things, push through things, doing this now hasn't been my forte, okay? I've always had a consciousness issue with life, and that's where my focus has lied, to the detriment, really, of doing this. I've done some things, okay? I'll explain them to you as we go along, but doing this hasn't been my strong suit, really. I have been in such an unsatisfied mind condition. I haven't really put a lot of focus on really getting involved in something, okay, like I have to here in the very near future. So, you know, that must be said. But we respect people that do that, you know, and but the more important thing is the beingness thing now, okay? That's the most important thing as we move into the fifth dimensional consciousness, heart-centered unity consciousness, to be able to grasp and start grasping that. I think as they keep themselves busy, so they don't have to know that their consciousness is lacking. And that's my theory on the whole thing. So that's the final, and actually the very final piece of all this is this. How do you guys feel about this? The things I'm saying. Are you happy with your consciousness? Are you feeling as though you're still waiting for life to happen? My whole life, really, I've been kind of waiting for life to happen. When you're under the influence of certain types of psychedelics, life's happening. Trust me. Go, wow. Life's happening, man, and it is truly, it truly is. But you know, my mind life has been a story of waiting to get by all this head crap into a more effusive, heart-centered life that has brilliant life to it. You know, has everything we've been waiting for to happen. And it seems as though you're out there and you're not holding back in your mind and things like that. And I mentioned the time I went out for a walk and everybody's on their devices, and one way or the other, everybody's on their devices these days. I will go to a restaurant, I see a daughter and a mother on their devices. You know what I mean? The 10-year-old, 11, 12-year-old daughter on her phone, mother on her phone, sitting, you know, and not even talking to one another. You know, it really is sad. And to the extent that we are addicted to these devices, to the extent that we are overly fascinated with anything in this 3D world, that is going to prevent us from going within and delving into the more divine nature, our more divine nature, more potent divine nature we all have within us. Once again, we have the whole universe within us. We have the power of God within us. We have an inner sun within us, okay? And as we get addicted to these devices or anything else in life, it prevents us from this inner quest. There's a story, Georges Gurdjieff, one of my favorite mystics, spiritual masters I've read about. He's a character. I think he's another guy you might want to check out. He had Ouspensky. It was P.D. Ouspensky and George Gurdjieff, and they were a team. Ouspensky was a scientist. Gurdjieff was the mystic, very, very wise. He was a spiritual master. He was an enlightened being. They had this method called the work. They invited people in, and they do this thing called the work, which is all about increasing consciousness, getting us to the point where we know more and know our power through consciousness. And they invited this higher up in I think it was in Georgia, maybe let's say Moscow, and he was a higher up. He was a newspaperman, I think, high functioning newspaperman, and he wanted to come and he wanted to see what it was all about. So he shows up, and they're all sitting at the table, and he starts talking, and keeps talking, and just keeps talking and talking, and Ouspensky wanted to say, we wanted to try to start this, and Gurdjieff looked at Ouspensky and waved them off, said, don't, let's see how far this guy goes with this. And he just kept talking and talking, and and then he finally got up and just left. And Gurdjieff's point in allowing that to happen was, he was saying, look, sometimes it's the highest functioning people in this world that have no interest in what I'm trying to promote here, which is a more sophisticated form of consciousness, and they're the blindest, to wanting to know more than they know about themselves in these types of ways, and that's his point in allowing that to go on was it's sometimes just the simpler people who really know that they want more from life than their consciousness is allowing them to get. So that's it for now. We're going to keep going back to this theme. Okay, is we're going to keep comparing this world and people we know and friends and ourselves and famous people, and see, once again, we're going to compare it and make sure what I'm saying is somewhat true to largely true. Okay, I know that it for me it's it's largely true, almost more than largely true, almost completely true, that I live in a mind state that I'm no longer satisfied with, and I've never been satisfied with it. Okay, it's been a hell-like state for me, but my situation, we'll get to it one day, why it was worse than most. So there's that. There's that. Okay, so now I want to. There's two very interesting things happened to me lately, and I want to talk about them quickly here, because they're at the center of what we're trying to do here. Okay, this is becoming a new person through devolving out of our mind and setting up residence in the heart. Okay, I go to the store. Okay, a little knickknack, little store, and I pick up things every once in a while. And there's a girl there that we always had a friendly relationship. All year. A year and a half, whatever. And she's a bright, always friendly, always made me feel good to see her. You know what I mean? So it was Christmas time, and I was in there for the last time. I knew I wouldn't be in there for all, so I just wanted to stop by and say hello to her. And I just talked to her a bit. She talked to me, and I took her hand, and I went down to kind of say, I'll see you. And I went to pull her hand toward my lips, and I wanted to kiss her hand, just as a little token of my appreciation of her as a human being. It was nothing serious. I don't think of her as, I don't need a girlfriend or anything like that. But it was just a kind of gesture that I felt I wanted to do, but it's a little unusual. But I wanted to do it anyway, So I went to kiss her hand, and she pulled her hand away. She didn't want me to kiss her hand. That could have been a COVID thing. I don't know, But she pulled it away, and she kind of glanced away, and that was kind of it. So it's very interesting to measure that. As I walked out of the store, walked to my car, I was in pain. I was in emotional pain at that sort of misunderstanding I felt of what the gesture was all about. And the pain lasted about 5-6 hours. It wasn't there when I woke up the next morning, but there was emotional pain there at that reaction to what I had intended to do. It could have, like I say, it could have been a COVID thing. I don't know, but it was very interesting to watch myself as I progressed through that experience and had that emotional pain. And it was very clear to me at that point, so this is why maybe people tend to close off from one another, because when you put yourself out there in a way that is more than what you normally do, and you get rejected or slapped down about it, it's a painful thing, and it eats at our sense of confidence. It eats at our carefully coiffed idea of who we are as a male, as a man. Now all of a sudden we're this like vulnerable child, that's been hurt. We feel out of, we don't like that, and it's how do we measure that as a heart-centered being as compared to a mind-centered being? See, that's what we're that's what I was interested in kind of going through, and it was very interesting in this place I'm in now, that I don't mind things like that happening, but there was pain involved. But it's just the idea of taking that whole scene and learn how to incorporate it in a more positive, heart-centered way. How do we look at those things as we become heart-centered beings, as opposed to a mind-centered being? There's these neighbors I have downstairs. So they have this cute little kid, little Asian kid, Leo, his name is, and he runs around and he says, "Hi," when you go by, stuff like that. So they were, him and his dad were coming out of the apartment. I was at the stairs, and I was just kind of waiting for him to come out because someone would say, "Hey, Leo." And we had a little bit of go around with this before. This wasn't the first time, but his dad got mad that I wanted to say hi to Leo. He goes, I don't want you to say. Basically, I forget exactly what he said, because basically he goes, I don't want you to say hi to my kid. I'm friendly to kids. Okay, I'm friendly because I don't have any kids, and I have no problem not having kids. But when I see children, I feel like they're everybody's children, including mine, and so I'm friendly to them. But understandably so. There's a lot of weirdness going on these days around, that didn't really seem to be this bad years ago. It's odd. We seem to be going forward and back all at the same time. So their parents are careful about strangers being friendly to their, that whole thing. To make, to understand their side of it, we look at that. There's another example of like getting slightly punched in the stomach, just having a good intention, wanting to say hi to Leo. Basically, he says hi to me all the time, so I'm really responding to his open friendliness and all that. But the parents, that's a different story, okay? And that's partly because they're cautious about strangers being friendly to their kids, okay? Fair enough. And they're also tight-minded, low-vibe people, low-vibrational people. And they react in ways that we would wish we could do better as a society. The girl, who knows what's going on through her head, but I feel both those reactions really weren't commensurate to where I was as a person. I felt were almost completely misunderstood in a certain sense. And so as a heart-centered beings, now as we're headed out of our heads into our hearts, how do we incorporate that? How do we assimilate those types of experiences? Very smart guy, I read one time that said, if you go to a cave, and because you go to a cave and you sit there for years and you become enlightened, because you will get help if you demand that sort of thing. If you go down from that cave in your new enlightened state and you start to deal with people again, and you don't know how to process the dealings with people, because they're going to behave like they've been behaving all along, which is in, small, tight-minded ways and things that if you don't process properly, will bring your vibration right down again, So that's what we have to contend with here. As we move higher and higher, we have to learn how to take responsibility for it in a way, and to forgive in a way, and to allow people, not being everything we would want them to be, in reacting in small-minded, lower vibrational ways. We have to learn how to see that. We have to learn how to, respond, and how to handle those types of things without getting bogged down by those types of things, by other people's behavior. But those are two very interesting things, and this is really the heart of, at the center of what we're doing here. Those two types of things are going to happen. You know what I mean? And the way to handle them is not make them the enemy. Try to allow it, forgive it. I find forgiveness on the spot is a great way of handling people that are treating you in ways that stem from lower vibrational understandings, so we have to be vigilant and sharp and alert in handling these things properly, so they don't infect us again. Okay, once we achieve a higher vibrational state. Okay, so I wanted to bring those two examples up because this is very, very interesting and very much on point to what we're trying to do here and how we handle those types of things. Once again, you put yourself in vulnerable positions, and I began to think now, Jeff, in your whole life now, if you were doing things early on that weren't being understood properly and made people respond to you badly, you know, you're going to start, and you get hurt, emotionally hurt. You're going to start pulling away and contracting from those responses, and start becoming different because you don't really want people to respond that way to you, and it's a painful thing to have to go through. And if you're not responded to it correctly, you start to contract. And I think one of the things that made my experience in conjunction with this a tight mind reality is that I contracted away from life because the generally kind of things I would do sometimes that were just misunderstood, not understood properly. My parents or whoever, you know, were registered disapproval one way or the other. And I can see myself now, especially with this last experience, pulling away and not wanting to get into those situations again. So that's the beginning of creating this wall and begin to contract away from life, which is what I did. I contracted away from life as a way of protection, basically, and now I've got to turn that around. All right, okay, friendship. Now, I'm looking forward to create a sense of friendship with more people, okay? And what I decided to do is create two friends. My first, well, I have one or two friends, but to create friends with myself. That's going to be my first friend and my inner child, okay? That's where I'm going to start developing my pool of friendship, okay? I'm going to become a true friend to myself, okay? And that's truly a wonderful thing in a most dynamic sense. You know, we all would think, you know, we're friends to ourselves, but not so, really. I want to become a great friend to myself and love myself and experience myself in a loving way more so than ever before. I'm going to be determined to become a great friend to myself. I'm determined to become a great friend to my inner child. Okay, those are the two friendships I'm starting right now. Okay, and we're going to, if I do that properly, then this sense of friendship will begin to be awakened again and be able to spread to more people that I run into. I think maybe part of it is not running into my tribe. You know, I think it would be more natural if I could run into sort of my tribe of people I'm supposed to be with. That's going to be a great help. But in the friendship area, that's what I'm starting it with. Okay, I'm going to become a great friend to myself, a beautiful friend to my own self, and a beautiful friend to my own inner child. Those are my two friendships I'm beginning, and we'll see how that tracks with then that inner sense of friendship begins to spread outward to others also. So that's the latest on that in my new friendship kick, okay? Because I'm going to experience friendship again. I told you before, I sort of lost the ability to feel friendship. I'm going through motions, but I don't really feel friendship like I want to feel friendship. So that's what I'm going to do at beginning this whole thing. And let's hold it right there. I probably went too long, who knows? But we're going to hold it right there, and we'll see you soon, okay? I am Jeff Africa. I'm a citizen of Earth, loyal patriot of the United States of America, and I am not afraid. I stand unafraid. That's better, see? I stand unafraid. Okay, that's what it's going to be from here on out. I stand unafraid. And these four, God herself, Divine Mother, I'll call her Divine Mother, Jeshua ben Joseph, Paramahansa Yogananda, and Mother Earth. These four are going to help me get to my heart, get out of my head, into my heart, and live a whole brand new life. A life I can be happy with and love. And get going in creating, with my skills and talents, a brand new life for myself that begins with a brand new consciousness. Okay? All right, there you go. Thanks very much, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.